Hi everyone, my name is Joe Degano with MX Coach, and I've got my friend here, Tom. Tom, how long you been riding?
Well, I've been riding since I was 16, but I took about a 30-year break, or 35 years, so. And I've been riding road bikes, but not dirt bikes until the last couple of months.
Okay, great. And so we've got what kind of riding you do? Trail riding, racing, motocross?
Trail, I think, mostly, and fire roads, some stuff like this. Not too crazy.
So Tom is, a typical trail rider, recreational rider. And what you saw in his video is typically what you're going to see with new riders or riders that don't have formal instruction. We're going to go through the fundamentals, the 8 fundamental laws of motorcycle physics, and we're going to show you, and Tom, more importantly, the magic that happens when I get the 8 fundamental laws of physics and I get in line with them, the kind of control I have of the motorcycle, the kind of confidence that goes up, and effortlessness happens, right? And fun, joy goes up. So that's what we're going to do. And today is about the fundamentals. So regardless if we've got a trail rider here or we've got an AMA pro, this is where I always start. The AMA pros and the fast guys, the intermediates, and these kids that are winning the local race, they don't like to hear that they don't know the fundamentals. But I've never met one yet that knew all 8 fundamentals, AMA pro or not. So we're going to go through each of the fundamentals step by step, and the whole idea is to get control of the bike. Okay? Questions, Tom?
I would add one thing.
Please.
You're very right. I went trail riding a couple of weeks ago, wrecked multiple times, and I was fighting the bike the whole time, so I was worn out. And the guy I was riding with, he wasn't even sweating. And so I need to learn efficiency in riding, and I know that more skill will help me do that.
Perfect. Okay, so where you want to put your feet on the pegs is the balls of your feet. So right here is somewhere between here and here is the balls of my feet. Where I typically watch a rider is in my arches. It's comfortable to go in the arches. When I shift, I've got to be on my arches. When I hit the brake, I've got to be on my arches. So go ahead and shift, Tom. Right, now go to the balls of your feet. Can you shift from there? No, you can't, right? So every time you shift and brake, you've got to be on your arches, but we want to ride with the balls of our feet on the peg. Okay, go ahead and stand up, Tom. See what that feels like. All right, now go to your arches. All right, now go back to your balls of your feet. That's where we want to be riding. Now, y'all know that, all the top racers, Dungey, Tomac, you name it, all the way back to David Bailey, they all rode on the balls of their feet. Everyone knows to do that, but may not know why. So jump on down, Tom. You're a box, Tom? Tennis? What's your sport?
Wrestling.
Wrestling. All right, I don't know how that works, but let's say tennis. You play tennis or seen tennis?
I've played tennis.
You play tennis, okay?
Racquetball,
Yeah. So if I'm going to wait for somebody to serve the ball to me, I've got to be on the balls of my feet, because if I'm sitting here flat-footed and the ball goes that way, by the time I go, it's past. If I'm going to box, I'm not going to box you planted. I'm going to be on the balls of my feet.
That looks like a wrestling stance.
Is that what you do in wrestling too?
Yeah,
oh yeah. Before you bring them down, yeah?
You're up on your toes, ready to go.
Right. I don't know about you, I played Little League Baseball. They put me in right field. That's how bad I was. But the coach used to say, on the balls of your feet! Because I used to sit out there like this. And he knew if we weren't like this on the balls of our feet, when that thing cracked, we weren't going to get it, right? So every athletic that has foot is always the balls of your feet. But in motocross, dirt bike riding, we just go to our arches. It's just comfortable. It's easy because I got to shift and brake all the time. So what we want to find out is what's available when I get on the balls of my feet on the bike. Okay?
All right.
Simple.
Balls of the feet.
Yeah. So all you're going to do, Tom, get your helmet on, go through the cones, and you're just going to go through the cones with your feet on the balls of your pegs. I'm sorry. The balls of your feet on the pegs.
Got it.
Okay, so rule number one is balls of feet on the
I
peg.
already mounted upright. I was
Already
right on the
mounted.
balls. It was just,
The next one is real simple. I want to grab the bike with my legs.
yeah.
Okay? So most beginner riders, they hold on tight with their upper body, which gives them a look like this, and a lot of struggle and a lot of getting tired. Where a pro is grabbing the bike with their legs, and they have this flow to them, this ease to them, right? But if I grab the bike with my legs, that means I don't have to hold on so tight with my arms. And I can now flow with the bike. So the whole idea is balls of feet on the peg. You don't want to get any gap between your boot and the frame. So you want to have complete contact with the machine. Okay, so stand up, Tom. See how that feels. All right, now get some. Stay standing up. I don't want to see a gap between the boot and the frame where I want to have constant contact with the machine. You can see it more on the front. But I don't want to have a gap there. So I want my contact with the machine go all the way in, right? So there's no gap. So I'm grabbing with my knees, my boots, my ankles. I've got contact with the machine. That's number two. Go ahead and sit down, see how that feels. So you want to grab here with the knees, really easy. Make sure you're in. And that's number two. Questions?
No.
Pretty easy. All right. Helmet up. Again, number one is
Balls of the feet
balls of the feet on the peg. Number two,
is knees in, feet in, knees in.
yeah, grab the bike with your legs, right? That's how I want to hold on with the bike.
Are we only on number two?
We're only on number two. Let me jump up here.
That we're on three already.
Nope.
I thought there was a third one.
So number one, and we do it in this order, and I recommend to do it in this order because you really want people to get it. So when I'm riding, I don't want to be thinking all over. First is my foot, next is my legs, right? So balls of the feet on my pegs, right? So I'm now light on the bike. I've got lots of athleticism. I can do something with this bike as opposed to on my arches. I can't really do much. Here, I've got lots of movement and control. When I'm grabbing the bike with my legs, and I have a 450, I can turn that throttle hard, and you know what? I'm gonna hold on with my knees. I don't have to be worried about getting pulled off with my upper body. I just need to lean into it. So I wanna be able to control the bike with my legs here. I don't need to have my hands on the handlebars to hold on, because I'm solid right here, right? Standing up, really getting your legs tight. That's why some of the pros put grip tape and stuff on their bikes so they can really grab their bike. They can be loose up top and working. All right, jump up here, Tom. So we got your balls of your feet. We got grab with your legs. What's next?
You said midsection.
Well, it's further down than that. It's your butt.
Oh,
So-
yeah, that's a good one.
Where does your butt need to be on that seat, you think?
Probably more like right up here,
Yeah? Then why do you sit back there?
because it's more comfortable.
Yeah,
Yes.
you got that? You hear what he said? It's more comfortable. So scoot back, Tom. Scoot back. See, him sitting here, and you might want to get a close-up on this. Him sitting here is really comfortable. I can get a little coffee cup cooler here, a little TV remote there, so he can relax and enjoy the ride by sitting back there. He doesn't want to get his knees crunched up. He sits back there, and this is where most riders blow it. Okay, so you see the engine. It is positioned between the foot pegs and the head stay, okay? Or the handlebars, however you want to say that. Now, what year is this bike, Tom?
09.
09. So in 2010, to get Tom to buy a new bike, the brochure came out for the Honda CR250F 2010 model. You know what they did? They moved the engine forward 5 millimeters. 5 millimeters, Tom! They moved it forward 5 millimeters to give better handling and control. Holy cow, I gotta sell that 2009. 5 millimeters. So why am I making a big deal of that? Because these bikes are engineered in a particular way. and really they move the engine 5 millimeter, 1 millimeter up, down, and it makes a big difference in the handling. And when we get on the bike and we're not sitting in the design principle of the bike, we've just ruined decades of Japanese engineering if you got a Honda. Okay? So really, where I want to have my weight is over the engine, because that's where the heaviest part of the machine is and how these bikes are designed to be handled. That's where the weight is, that's where my weight needs to be. So when I get back here, comfortable, doesn't hurt my knees, I am now out of the design principle of the bike, and the bike doesn't work. It just doesn't work that way. It's not designed to work that way. So all I got to do is get in the laws of the design of this bike by getting up here. So my weight is over the engine. Make sense, Tom?
Yeah, it makes sense.
You give it a shot. Beautiful. So now I've got him. He's got his balls at his feet. He's connected to the bike. His butt is, I like to say, my butt is even with the foot peg or in front of it. Okay, and now I'm neutral on the bike. Okay, now, don't get me wrong. Is there a time that Tom is going to come back here on the seat? Yep, there is a time. But just like a tennis player, I'm going to be here in the neutral position because I don't know where this serve's going, and I might go this way, but I'm going to return to my neutral position. I might go this way, you like my double backhand, but I'm going to return to center. Same here. This is the neutral sitting position. This is where I want to be. Will he go more forward? Sometimes. Will he come back? Sometimes. But this is where he's going to be, the neutral sitting position, to be in the design principle of the bike. Said another way, the laws of physics of the bike. So, we got 3 so far, right? Most people, when they get their butt up here, it makes all the difference, okay?
Makes a difference.
We still got 5 more to go. Isn't that the good news?
Yeah.
All right, so jump up. Let's get number 5. Again, number 1 is what, Tom?
Balls of the feet on the pegs.
Number 2?
Knees and legs close to the bike, gripping the bike.
Good. Number 3?
Sit with your butt above the foot pegs or in front of.
Good. And what do you think number 4 is going to be?
I don't know. I can't guess anymore.
Well, it's going to be your hands, okay?
Hands.
Yeah, so Tom's got hand guards on here, so we want to get a little closer, maybe from up top so we can see. So I'll jump off, it's easier for me to show you.
I just got up here.
I know. The idea is hand grip. So when I put my hands on the grips, I'm typically grabbing them like this. But the next one is I want to get my elbows out. So how my elbows get out, and everyone knows this one too. Everyone, that's a mark of a pro rider. They've got very wide elbows, okay? And everyone knows, oh, I got to get my elbows out. But rarely do people do it reliably. It starts with the hand grip. When I grip the bars like this, and now my coach tells me to get my elbows up, I do this, but it's really uncomfortable. So then I end up sliding back like this. So if I take my hands and do what we call a side grip, okay, my elbows are naturally away from my body. It's not hard to keep them this way. So like I do a tennis racket is how I'm going to grab the throttle and the grip. Like I turn a doorknob is how I'm going to now turn the throttle. Instead of doing this number, I'm going to turn it like a doorknob. Okay, so it all starts with a side grip. It's real easy. You take your hand and you just push out the palms of your hand outward and grip them like this. Now the problem is most people, if you can see the levers, if you look at the clutch lever, when I go to put my finger in the clutch, it's way out here. So now I got to move my finger out here, but guess what? My hand moves in here, and now I got my elbows down. Same thing with my brake. When I got a nice wide hand grip, guess what I'm hitting is the pivot instead of the lever, so I move my finger here. Before I know it, my hand is here, and I'm having a hard time on my elbows. So what we got to do is we got to loosen these perches, move them in on the bike, so that when I do a nice side grip and I use my levers, they're in the sweet spot of the levers. Okay, and that is going to support us with wide elbows. All I'm doing is loosening the bolts, and I'm moving these in. Now, some handlebars, especially if you got those oversized bars, you might have to move your kill switch, you might have to move some other tabs to get it in as much as you can. But I want it to be where my side grip, and I'm right there in the sweet spot. So basically you're moving it almost as far in as the bar will allow you to go. You look at some of these pro bikes at the nationals, and they have to do some custom things to do that, but their levers are in, at least the top guys. Why do I want wide elbows as compared to riding like this? Any guesses, Tom?
No.
Well, it's all leverage, right? Just like even baseball coaches, get your elbows out, right? It's just more of a leverage point to do something with this of the bike here than when I'm like this, I don't have much leverage, right? If I'm getting thrown back and forth, if I got my elbows wide, I've got a lot of power here, standing up, right? And leverage on moving the motorcycle. When I've got myself tucked in here, I've got very little to keep me from going forward, and I don't have much leverage with the machine. But you see a lot of riders riding on their arches, wide, holding on for dear life like this. It's not pretty. Not only is it not pretty, it's not very effective. But when you see a pro ride, you're going to see the opposite. You're going to see really wide elbows and a lot of control and a lot of flowing motion.
I'm up. Yep. I'm going to turn in. Now that's a weird, I'm going to have to get used to that.
Yep. And just one finger on the lever.
Just one?
Yep.
I
So
want two. I don't know if I got the grip.
Try your middle fingers a little bit stronger and longer. All right, so
It's like that?
Yeah, just like that. So when you have to fully disengage the engine, right, you can use your whole hand. But when you're riding, you're going to be using the clutch. And we just want to use one finger, and you're just going to pull the clutch in a little bit, and one finger is all you need. If you're doing this the first time, I recommend the middle finger because it's stronger and longer than the other.
Okay.
If you're going to do this newly, get used to using your middle finger as your clutch finger. If you've been doing it forever, do what you're going to do.
And you said the middle finger.
One finger and the middle finger. And we'll get into why
I can do this
one finger on the clutch.
Can I do that finger?
You can do that finger.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to talk about signals now, okay? So when you're out on the track there, on the cones,
Follow the feet.
right, I'm going to do this. What's that mean?
Grip the bike.
Yep, I'm going to do this.
Scoot forward.
Yep, I'm going to do this.
Turn your arms out.
Hand grip.
Hand
right?
grip.
Hand
All
grip.
right.
I'm going to do this.
Clutch with one finger.
Finger's not on the clutch, right? Those are the signals. If I do this, that means your elbows are into your body and not wide. And
Okay.
it starts with the hand grip. So mostly I'm going to do this. So you move your hand grip. That's going to handle your elbows.
Okay. Now I'm kind of coming in from above to get that. That's probably not right. I probably need to still come in from the back, but just like that.
What do you mean from the back?
Well, I can come in from the top.
Yep.
I don't want to do that. I want to come in from here and then twist out. Yeah, that's what I want to do, I guess.
So give it some runs on the cones and get a feel for it.
All right.
Questions?
No.
At this point, it gets overwhelming. I got to think of a lot of things. Three things is easy: feet, knees, butt. Right now we've got hand grip, which is awkward. Finger on the clutch, which you haven't done that. That's awkward. Now I got to put all this and remember it together. That's why we've got 8 take our time through the 8, because I don't want to get them all mashed together and then forget one of these 8, because they're the fundamentals of control. Right?
Are we on 7 already?
No.
Oh.
No.
We're at 5.
We're at 5. All right, so I got 3 more to go, but I really want to be able to get each one now. And we'll show you later that we got drills, so that each one of these drills you can practice, 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 so you don't have to think about it. And that is the real idea, is to be able to not think about it and just ride that way. And how that happens is, and this is neuroscience, now if I have a new rider that has no habits that we need to break, he needs 300 repetitions of holding his hand grip like that, 300 repetitions of putting the front finger on the clutch lever, 300 repetitions of riding on the balls of his feet. If I've got a rider like Tom who's ridden all his life, even though he's taken a long hiatus, he's already got neural pathways burned in. Now it takes 3,000 repetitions.
Oh, come on.
3,000. And so what happens is I get bored with the fundamentals. I don't want to do the fundamentals. It's got it good enough, but they're not automatic. So then I go do something else. And now I start practicing and burning in those old pathways of bad habits, competing with my new pathways. And before I know it, after a school, I see a rider and he's got 1 or 10% of what I've taught him to do or her to do that they're actually using. And the simple fact is they haven't done the work, like in any sport, to do the drill, the drill, the drill, the drill, so that I ride like this without thinking.
I'm not going to live that long.
It's getting to be a lot. That's why
flashcards.
It's got to be flashcards. That's why we have the handout. But the handout ain't going to do anything because no one's going to look at the handout. We've got to instill them now. And after 3, I'm like, hard to remember 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So
I've got 4 and 5 because you moved my stuff. I can't help it now.
You can't help it now. Yeah.
Why is this so?
Yeah. We move it in. So we're going to go through all of them, so then we can do the drills and coach him in all of them. Okay, but here's the major thing with any rider, whether you're in a school, this is where we start the schools, private lesson, this is where we start the private lesson. You cannot skip over this. Even though the rider is going to be anxious or wanting to get onto the track or wanting to do this or that, you've got to enroll them into the importance of the fundamentals. Questions, Tom?
No.
Now the good news is the drills are going to be fun. And every time you do the drills, you're going to be putting all the fundamentals in. Okay? And each drill is going to accentuate one or the other. Okay, so as part of your riding, before you go trail riding, you just warm up doing drills.
All right.
Get there a little bit earlier, don't be the last guy, and then what's Tom doing while he's waiting for us to get his gear on? He's doing all these drills. Well, now you're warmed up, you're in sync with the laws of gravity, and you're going to have a great ride. Right? When you get back, do some drills. Right? That's the idea, is drill, just like any other sport or skill that you learn. Oh, you're in the military, aren't you, Tom?
Yeah.
Do you guys do drills?
Yeah, we do drills. Battle drills.
Battle drills.
So you do things without thinking. Automatic. It's imprinted in your brain. Because you don't have time to think.
Right, same with racing. You don't have time to think. And so drills, 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 like any other athletic, the coach has you do drills, 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 so it's imprinted in your brain, just like Tom said, that you don't think, you just do, you act. There is no time to think. That takes discipline, and that takes time, and that takes effort. But most of your riders are going to be going out on the track, working on their jumps and their whips, and not working on drills. This is why you can take a rider and have them win in the amateur ranks and amateur racing really easily and go through the classes very easily. Because the other people are not doing a scientific method like the military is, like football, like soccer, like basketball, like swimming, like martial arts, like tennis, and every other sport.
Like MX coach.
What do you think number 6 is going to be?
I don't know. Probably, I don't know.
You're close.
Where to lean?
It's your head.
Head, okay.
Your head is going to be over the bars or in front of the bars.
All
and,
the time. Or most
and
of the time.
never, ever, ever behind the bars. Okay, so my head is going to be in front, on top of the bars or in front of the bars. Now you see.
That's a paradigm change. Okay.
Right, now you see as he just moves forward, how his elbows got high and wide automatically, and he now looks like he knows what he's doing. Where when we first got here, slide back, Tom, sit back.
Oh yeah.
Get your elbows down.
Cruiser.
And he looked like, some, hunter that jumped on a CRF.
I'm a Harley rider.
Harley rider. But go into position, and suddenly he starts to look like Scott Plessinger.
There
So,
we go. There we go.
so I want my head over the bars or in front of the bars at all times. Now, if I want to get back, right, that's fine. You can get back to where about your visor is even with this crossbar pad. Okay? Scoot your butt back a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, because sometimes you're going to have to get your butt scooted back, okay? But that still doesn't mean your head won't be over the bars.
All right.
All right, there might be a time I need to get some weight back, but I'm still going to keep control of the bike by having my head, even with the bars, are in front of me. If I'm coming down that big cliff there, I'm going to stand up, Tom.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my weight way back, but I'm going to keep my head over the bars. Right? So I can get my weight back and keep my head over the bars.
Okay.
Right? It feels a little awkward, but that's
Okay.
how you get your weight back, is by moving your body back but keeping your head over the bars. The moment my head gets behind the bars, I've lost control of the motorcycle.
Oh, you're pulling that wheel up.
Right? There's just a major weight shift to the back. I need to get control of the front of the motorcycle.
All right.
Okay, sit down. And so here's the name of the game. You've been riding long enough, Tom. When your back wheel gets loose like you're coming through those cones, is it a big deal?
Not really.
Not really. How about when your front wheel gets loose?
A big deal.
It's a big deal.
You're gonna wreck.
It's a big deal, right? So the name of the game is if I can get the front end, control the front end, I've got control of the bike. The back end, it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I got to get control of the front end. So that's why I get my attention on that front tire and get my weight and my head up over here and my elbows, everything to get this front end to stick.
You can cut this out of the tape if you want.
Yeah.
But riding trails up there, I lose the back end off the trail. It's a little single track. It's easy to maintain control. Just pull the back end up on.
Yeah.
I lost the front end. I dove 30 feet off the end, off this, just like that. 30 feet, head over heel, banged up my knees, everything else, because I lost the front end. Back end, I went off all the time.
No problem.
I could deal with it.
Same principle.
All right.
Right, so I really
You
got to get
convinced me,
control.
that's what I'm saying.
I really got to get control of the front end. And so all my attention, if you come over here and get a side shot of him, you can start to see, well, wow, this guy's really forward on the bike. Why? Because I've got to get control of that front end, and that works. The bike's designed for my weight to be here, not to be in the comfortable position. Oh, my knees are crammed up, and I got my hands, I got all this crammed up. I want to get some room. No, that's where you want to be to ride, to be in control. All right, let's give it a shot, Tom. Any questions?
No.
Good. What did you notice on that? How'd that?
It was hard to get used to. It's going to take a lot of practice. And my shoulders.
So it's hard and it's going to take a lot of practice. The idea is to get them to do the practice, right? So I can get the fundamentals and not think about them. So we still got a couple more to cover. So one thing I want to point out is that when I'm on the bike and I'm in good position, I got a good hand grip and everything, I got my elbows wide, when I bring my head forward, my elbows automatically come up. I don't have to hold them up. So, unless you're racing really fast, you're not going to be this far over the bike. But you know, you still want to have your head over the bike or even with the handlebars, which is going to have your elbows look more like this, as opposed to Scott Plessinger that looks like this. Okay, but there's still some more fundamentals. So number one is what, Tom?
Balls of the feet on the pegs.
Okay. Number two.
Grip the bike with the knees and legs.
Right. Number three.
Butt over the pegs or forward of the pegs.
Okay. Four.
Grip.
Side grip.
Side grip.
Number five.
Finger on the clutch.
Number six.
Head forward of the handlebars.
Right. So whether I'm standing or sitting, my head's over the handlebars or in front of the handlebars. And I can get my weight back, but my head is still over the handlebars. Even those pros going through the rocker whoops, their visor might be even with the bars and their weight's back, but they are not beyond that handlebar like this. They're still got control of the front end of the motorcycle. So the next one is standing. Okay. So when I stand on the bike, typically most people stand kind of like this. Okay, it's take a lot of energy to do this, and you're not neutral on the bike. So just like this is the seated neutral position, and I may move from this, I might scoot my butt back, I may do this, I may do other things on the bike. I'm still going to return to neutral sitting position. I want to have a neutral standing position. A neutral standing position is just like sitting, and all I do is straighten my knees. Straighten. So, what I'm looking for, and in the drills here, your legs are straight, your knees are behind the pegs. So if the balls of my feet are on the pegs and my legs are straight, guess where my knees are? Behind the pegs. When I bend my knees, I'm still neutral. When I bend my knees in front of the pegs, I've done a major weight transfer to the back of the bike. Nothing wrong with that. It's not neutral. When I get my knees behind the pegs, I'm now neutral. The basis of my weight is over the motor. The bike will do all the work for me here. Now, can I ride in neutral position all the time? No. I'm going to have to bend my knees. I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do all sorts of things on the bike. But I need to know where is neutral standing. Neutral standing is when my knees are even with the pegs or behind them. When it's in front of them, I'm no longer neutral. So all you're going to do, Tom, is go ride through the cones, get your set up, and just straighten your knees, straighten your legs out. It might look like they're locked out, and you can lock them out in the cones, it won't hurt you. But you just want to make sure they're straight. You'll ride like this and you'll think they're straight. I'm going to go, no, they're not straight. No, not straight. Just get them straight. And see what that feels like to be neutral on the bike and go through the cones. You can sit down and make your transition, but then you stand up and go through the cones. All right. Questions? Get up here first without the helmet, Tom, so we can be clear what this feels like. Okay, so first get in the seated neutral position. And just keep your head over the bars, a little bit forward.
Okay.
Now just straighten your legs. Bingo. See those knees? They're even with the pegs. They could come a little bit further. Move your hips back just a hair.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Now, one thing to notice, cameraman, see how he's drooping that? Don't droop your heels. You've got to stay flat here. That's an ankle injury, right? So you just got to grab the bike with your legs, make sure your boot's even. Don't do the droopy thing.
All right.
So the whole idea is, when you get the knees neutral, you're going to feel something on the bike. That's called neutral standing. That's what we got you to have to discover. Questions? Before you're riding like this, okay?
Yeah.
So your knees are still in front of the pegs.
Okay.
So now you're going like this. which is what I want, but you're drooping your heels.
Yeah.
See, you get locked in here, and it's really comfortable, but you will hyperflex your ankle if you end up riding like that.
Yeah.
Right? So I've got to keep the weight forward and not drop it in here, right?
Alright.
So it's a weird thing to do, and you might just try going up and down the road so you got some speed behind you, and just drop your head down to the bars and your hips back till you can feel that neutral position. But it's going to look something like this. Not so tall, right? So if I just bring my head to the crossbar pad, it kind of does it. I just got to make sure I don't do this.
All right.
Right? And so really my weight is more forward, right? And the more fast I'm going to go, the more I got to bring my weight forward to get in that neutral sweet spot. And when you're in it, Tom, you know it. Like, man, it's not hard to hold on. The bike's working easily. Okay, so maybe do some runs up and down the road here. And be careful, you know this road is live. And then come through the cones and see if you can hit it. So now I'm in good seated neutral position. Right? Now I don't want to just stay there. I want to work the bike. I want to be fluid in the bike. And so what you do is you just go through the cones and you exaggerate this, but at speed, you're actually going to be moving around on the bike. You don't want to be stiff. The idea is that if you're like a rock on the bike is going to be all over the place. If you are in motion on the bike will be like a rock. Right? So you're not sitting here waiting for something to happen. You're always fluid and in motion, anticipating anything, much like a boxer. I'm not going to sit, I'm going to do this. So that's what it looks like. And then when you're standing, it's the same thing. I'm in standing neutral position, but moving around. I'm not throwing the bike around, I'm keeping the bike still, but I'm just shucking and jiving a little bit here. I'm dancing on the balls of my feet, moving around on the bike. Same thing here. I'm just moving around on the bike a little bit to keep things going straight. Question?